The storm rolled across the Cascade Mountains with violent intent, turning the narrow highway into a treacherous ribbon of rain and darkness. Mira Chen gripped the steering wheel of her ancient Subaru, her knuckles pale against the worn leather. The windshield wipers beat frantically, barely clearing the deluge long enough for her to see the next curve.
Tell me there's something more we can do.
5:47 p.m. The Mountain View Observatory's childcare center closed at 6, and she was still 20 minutes away. Her daughter Luna would be the last child there again, waiting with that patient expression that broke Myra's heart every time. Just hold on, baby, Mira whispered to the empty car. Mommy's coming, her phone buzzed in the cup holder. She glanced down, another overdue bill notification. The observatory paid barely enough to cover rent on their tiny apartment, but it was the only place that would hire an astrophysicist who'd walked away from her doctorate 7 years ago, 8 months pregnant and alone. The memory surfaced unbidden, Elias Vance's face when she told him about the pregnancy. The way his expression had shuddered, gone cold. His sister Isabella's voice the next day, smooth and poisonous, he doesn't want this burden. Here's money. Disappear and make this easy for everyone. Mira blinked hard, forcing her attention back to the road. She'd made her choices. She'd kept her dignity and her daughter, even if it meant poverty and endless exhaustion. The curve came faster than expected. Myra's tires hit a sheet of water, and suddenly the car was hydroplaning, sliding sideways toward the guardrail. She yanked the wheel, overcorrected, and then everything happened at once. The Subaru spun. Headlights from an oncoming truck blazed through her window. Metal shrieked against metal. The airbag exploded into her face. Pain erupted everywhere, her chest, her head, her left arm. The world tumbled, and then there was nothing but darkness and the distant sound of rain. Somewhere in Seattle, in a glass tower that dominated the skyline, Dr. Elias Vance stood before a wall of screens displaying real-time data from his company's latest satellite launch. At 34, he'd built Vance Aerospace from a college dorm room project into a multi-billion-dollar empire. His dark hair was perfectly styled, his charcoal suit tailored to precision. Everything in his life was controlled, calculated, optimized. His assistant Marcus hovered nearby, tablet in hand. The payload deployment is perfect, Dr. Vance. Congress will approve the defense contract by Monday. This puts us ahead of SpaceX and Blue Origin. Elias nodded, but his mind was elsewhere. Lately, in quiet moments, he found himself thinking about things he'd buried years ago. A woman with warm brown eyes and a laugh that could light up a room. Mira Chen, the physics student he'd loved with an intensity that had terrified him. The woman who'd gotten pregnant and then vanished after taking his sister's money. His sister Isabella had been sympathetic at the time. She showed her true colors, Eli. Some people see you as a meal ticket. You're better off focusing on your work. He'd believed her because believing was easier than the alternative. He'd thrown himself into building his company, into proving he needed no one. His phone rang, the private line only 5 people had. He frowned, seeing an unfamiliar number with a Washington area code. Dr. Vance, his voice was clipped, professional. Is this Elias Vance? A woman's voice, strained and urgent. This is Dr. Sarah Mitchell from Mountain View Observatory. I'm calling about Mira Chen. The name hit him like a physical blow. His hand tightened on the phone. There's been an accident. A serious one. Myra's at Cascade Regional Medical Center in critical condition. I'm calling because. The woman hesitated. Because her emergency contact information is 7 years old, and you're the only name listed besides her sister who's overseas. And because her daughter needs someone. The floor seemed to tilt beneath Elias's feet. Her daughter, Luna. She's 6 years old. She's at the observatory's childcare center, and we close at 6. Mira was on her way to pick her up when the accident happened. Mr. Vance, I know this is unexpected, but the child needs an adult guardian and Myra's sister won't arrive from Taiwan until tomorrow evening. Is there anyone you can contact? 6 years old. The math crashed through his carefully constructed reality like a wrecking ball. I'm on my way, Elias said, his voice steady despite the chaos erupting inside him. Text me the addresses. I'll be there in 20 minutes. He ended the call and turned to Marcus, who was staring at him in confusion. Sir, the presentation. Cancel everything, Elias said, already moving toward the door. Get the helicopter ready now. But the investors, I don't care. Elias grabbed his jacket. There's somewhere I need to be. As the elevator descended, Elias stared at his reflection in the polished doors. A daughter. Mira had a daughter. His daughter. 7 years of his child's life, gone. 7 years of believing a lie. The helicopter lifted off from the rooftop, and Elias watched Seattle spread out below him, the city lights blurring in the rain. His hands were shaking. Somewhere in a hospital, Mira was fighting for her life. Somewhere in an observatory, a little girl waited for a mother who might never come home. And Elias Vance, who controlled satellites and billion-dollar contracts, had never felt more powerless in his life. The Mountain View Observatory perched on a ridge like a sentinel watching the stars. Elias's helicopter landed in the parking lot, its rotors whipping rain into frantic spirals. He jumped out before the blades stopped spinning, his expensive shoes splashing through puddles as he ran toward the main building. Dr. Sarah Mitchell met him at the entrance, a tired woman in her 50s with kind eyes. Dr. Vance. Thank you for coming so quickly. Where is she? Elias demanded. The little girl. Sarah led him through corridors lined with astronomical charts and photographs of distant galaxies. She's in the observation room. She knows something's wrong. Children always know. They stopped outside a door. Through the window, Elias saw a small figure sitting on the floor, surrounded by star charts. The girl had dark hair pulled into a ponytail, and she was carefully coloring a picture of the solar system. That's Luna, Sarah said softly. Elias's breath caught. Even from behind, even in profile, he could see himself in her. The angle of her jaw. The way she tilted her head when concentrating. Has anyone told her? He asked. Just that her mother was in an accident and someone is coming to take care of her. Sarah paused. Dr. Vance, Mira never talked about Luna's father. But the moment I saw you, I didn't know, Elias said roughly. I swear to God, I didn't know. He pushed open the door. Luna looked up, and Elias's world tilted again. She had his gray eyes. The exact shade, the exact shape. There was no denying it. Hello, Luna said, her voice small and careful. Are you the someone? Elias knelt down, bringing himself to her level. His throat felt tight. I'm Elias. I was a friend of your mom's. Dr. Mitchell called me to come get you. Is my mommy okay? Luna's lower lip trembled. She promised she'd never be late. She always keeps her promises. The trust in those gray eyes, his eyes, nearly broke him. The doctors are taking care of her. She's going to try very hard to get better. Right now, I'm going to take you to see her. Luna studied him with an intensity that was unnerving. You look sad. I am sad, Elias admitted. But I'm also glad I get to meet you. She considered this, then carefully packed her crayons into a small backpack shaped like a rocket ship. Mommy says I'm named after the moon. She studies the stars. I know, Elias said. I study them too. Space is pretty amazing. Do you have a telescope? I have several. And satellites? Luna's eyes widened. Real satellites? In actual space, Elias confirmed, and was rewarded with a small smile. During the helicopter ride to Cascade Regional Medical Center, Luna pressed her face against the window, momentarily distracted by the bird's-eye view. Elias watched her, his mind racing. This was his daughter. His child. How had Mira done this alone for 6 years? The memory surfaced, their last night together before he'd left for that conference in Geneva. They'd been in his apartment, tangled in sheets, her head on his chest. What if this becomes something real? Mira had whispered. What if we're not just 2 students anymore? Then we'll figure it out together, he'd promised, kissing her forehead. Whatever happens, we'll figure it out. But he hadn't figured it out. He'd believed his sister's lies and let Mira disappear. At the hospital, the trauma unit was chaos. Elias carried Luna through the corridors, her small arms wrapped around his neck. A nurse directed them to the intensive care unit. She's stable but critical, the nurse explained. The head trauma was severe. She's in a medically induced coma to reduce brain swelling. Elias felt Luna stiffen in his arms. What's a coma? She whispered. It means she's sleeping very deeply, Elias said gently. The doctors are helping her rest so her body can heal. They stood outside the ICU window. Mira lay surrounded by machines, her face pale and bruised, tubes and wires connecting her to monitors that beeped with steady rhythm. Mommy, Luna whimpered. We can't go in yet, Elias said. But we can stay close. We can be right here when she wakes up. What if she doesn't wake up? Luna asked, voicing the fear Elias couldn't bear to acknowledge. She will, he said fiercely. Your mom is strong. She's a fighter. They set up camp in the family waiting room. Elias made calls, pulling strings he didn't know he had. He hired the best neurologists. He had equipment flown in from Johns Hopkins. He threw money at the problem because money was what he understood. But Luna was a different challenge. She refused to sleep in the hotel suite he booked. She wanted to stay near her mother. So Elias had a bed brought to the waiting room, and that first night, Luna curled up beside him. Tell me about when you knew my mommy, Luna said into the darkness. Elias hadn't talked about Mira in 7 years. The words came haltingly. I met her at the university. She was brilliant, smarter than most of the professors. She loved the stars more than anyone I'd ever met. Did you love her? The question pierced him. Yes, Elias whispered. More than I knew how to say. Then why did you leave? I thought she left me, Elias said. But I was wrong. Very wrong. Luna was quiet. Then, grown-ups make things complicated. Yes, Elias agreed. We do. The next morning, Elias made a call he'd been dreading. His sister Isabella answered immediately. Eli, darling, where are you? The board meeting. What did you tell Mira Chen 7 years ago? Elias interrupted, his voice like ice. Silence. Then, who? Don't play games, Isabella. What did you say to make her disappear? His sister sighed. I protected you. She was pregnant, probably trying to trap you. I offered her money to go away quietly. Did she take it? Does it matter? She left, didn't she? It matters, Elias said, because she has a 6-year-old daughter who has my eyes, and she's been raising her alone in poverty while you and I lived in luxury. So yes, Isabella, it matters a great deal. Elias, stay away from me, he said quietly. Stay away from Mira, and stay away from my daughter. If you contact any of us, I will remove you from every position you hold in this company. He ended the call and returned to the waiting room where Luna was drawing pictures for her mother. She looked up at him with those gray eyes. Are you my daddy? She asked simply. Elias's heart stopped. He knelt beside her. Yes, he whispered. I am. Luna nodded, as if confirming something she'd already suspected. Okay, she said. Then you can help me save Mommy. The truth came in pieces, like shattered glass Elias had to carefully reassemble. He hired private investigators, pulled phone records, traced financial transactions. Each discovery felt like another knife wound. Mira had never cashed his sister's check. The $2 million had sat untouched in an account for 7 years, accruing interest. Instead, Mira had worked 3 jobs while pregnant, lived in a shelter for 2 months after Luna was born, and clawed her way to stability through sheer determination. Elias sat in his hotel suite at 3 a.m, surrounded by documents, his hands shaking with rage. Luna was asleep in the next room, her stuffed rabbit clutched tight. Through the wall, he could hear her breathing, his daughter's breathing. The full picture emerged over 5 days. Isabella hadn't just offered money. She'd threatened Myra's student visa, which had expired during a bureaucratic delay. She'd hired a lawyer to find Myra's father's gambling debts and threatened to expose them. She'd shown Mira fake financial documents suggesting Elias's company would collapse if the pregnancy became public. Mira had been 21, alone, and terrified. She'd disappeared to protect Elias, sacrificing everything. How did we get this wrong? Dr. Sarah Mitchell asked when Elias showed her the evidence. They sat in the observatory's cafeteria while Luna attended a special astronomy program Sarah had arranged. "I've known Mira for 3 years. She never once said a bad word about you, because she still loved me," Elias said bitterly. "She protected me even after I abandoned her." He'd been visiting the hospital twice daily, standing outside the ICU window, talking to Mira even though she couldn't hear. Luna came with him always, drawing pictures and telling stories about school. On the 6th day, Dr. Rahman, the neurologist, called Elias into his office. "We need to discuss next steps," he said carefully. "The swelling isn't reducing as quickly as we'd hoped. There's an experimental treatment, targeted hypothermia combined with a new anti-inflammatory protocol. It's shown promise in trials, but what?" Elias demanded. "It's not covered by insurance. The cost would be approximately $300,000, and there's no guarantee it'll work." Elias pulled out his phone. "I'll have the money transferred within the hour. When can we start?" Dr. Rahman blinked. "Mr. Vance, perhaps you should take time to consider." "There's nothing to consider," Elias interrupted. "She's the mother of my child. She's..." He stopped, swallowed hard. "She's the only woman I've ever loved. Do whatever it takes." The treatment began that afternoon. Elias held Luna's hand as they watched technicians wheel equipment into Myra's room. "Is it going to hurt Mommy?" Luna asked. "No, sweetheart. It's going to help her." Elias hoped he wasn't lying. During the long hours of waiting, Elias learned his daughter Luna loved dinosaurs and space with equal passion. She could name every planet's moons. She was terrified of thunderstorms but loved rain. She missed her mother with an ache that was physically visible. "Tell me another story about Mommy," Luna said one evening. They were in the hotel suite, Luna curled up in the oversized armchair. Elias pulled up old photos on his phone, ones he'd never been able to delete. "This was the night we went stargazing on Mount Hood. Your mom brought a telescope she'd borrowed from the university. She spent 2 hours showing me constellations. She still does that with me," Luna said softly. "Every clear night she took me to this terrible diner afterward. Worst coffee I'd ever had, but we stayed until sunrise talking about everything. I knew that night I'd never meet anyone like her again." "Why did you believe she left you?" Luna asked with a child's directness. Elias set down his phone. "Because it hurt less than thinking she might need me and I wasn't there. Because I was young and proud and stupid. Because I let someone I trusted tell me lies, and I didn't question them. My teacher says everyone makes mistakes," Luna offered. "Some mistakes cost more than others," Elias said quietly. On the 8th day, Dr. Rahman reported cautiously optimistic news. The swelling was finally decreasing. They'd begin reducing Myra's sedation gradually over the next week. Elias felt something like hope for the first time. He increased his hospital visits to 4 times daily. Luna read to her mother from her favorite books. Elias talked about their past, about Luna, about everything he'd never said. "I'm sorry," he whispered during one late-night visit. Luna was asleep in the waiting room, watched by a nurse. Elias held Myra's hand, careful of the 4-line. "I'm so sorry I wasn't there. That I didn't fight for you. That I believed you'd leave without a word. I should have known better. I should have known you." Her fingers twitched in his. Just a small movement, but Elias's heart leaped. "Come back," he whispered. "Luna needs you. I need you. Come back to us." On the 10th day, Isabella showed up at the hospital. Elias was in the cafeteria with Luna when security called his cell. "Your sister is here," the guard said. "She's demanding access to the ICU. Don't let her near that floor," Elias ordered. "I'm coming down." He left Luna with Sarah and found Isabella in the lobby, immaculate in a designer suit. "Really, Eli?" she said. "Security? I'm your sister." "You're a liar and a manipulator," Elias replied coldly. "You destroyed 2 lives because you wanted control. I protected our family's interests." "Family?" Elias laughed without humor. "You don't know the meaning of the word. A real family doesn't threaten vulnerable people. Doesn't separate children from their fathers. doesn't value money over people. Isabella's composure cracked. She wasn't right for you. She had no connections, no breeding, she had courage and integrity and love, Elias interrupted. Things you wouldn't recognize. I want you out of my company, Isabella. I'll buy out your shares. You'll have enough money to live comfortably, but you're done having any power over my life or my family's. The board won't. The board will do exactly what I tell them, Elias said. Or I'll walk and take my patents with me. You know I can. He watched his sister's face cycle through emotions before settling on cold acceptance. You'll regret this. The only thing I regret, Elias said, is not seeing your true nature 7 years ago. He walked away without looking back. Upstairs, Luna was waiting with her latest drawing. Everything okay? She asked, too perceptive for 6. Everything's going to be fine, Elias promised. And this time, he meant to keep that promise. On the 12th day, Myra's eyes opened. Elias was in a board meeting via video conference when his phone lit up with Dr. Ramon's call. He stood so abruptly his chair toppled backward. She's awake, he demanded, already moving toward the door, conscious and responsive, Dr. Ramon confirmed. We're running assessments now, but initial signs are very good, Mr. Vance. Very good indeed. The helicopter couldn't fly fast enough. Elias paced the cabin, his heart racing. Luna sat beside him, clutching her rocket backpack. Mommy's awake, she kept repeating, like a prayer. They burst into the hospital, but Dr. Ramon stopped them outside the ICU. She's confused and disoriented. That's normal after a medically induced coma. We need to take this slowly. I want to see my mommy, Luna said firmly. Soon, sweetheart, Dr. Ramon promised. Let us make sure she's ready first. Through the window, Elias could see Mira sitting up slightly, a nurse beside her. Even bruised and pale, she was beautiful. His chest ached with 7 years of longing. Then Mira turned her head and saw him. The recognition in her eyes hit like a lightning strike, followed immediately by panic. No, he heard her say, her voice hoarse. No, he can't be here. Dr. Ramon's expression shifted. Mr. Vance, perhaps. Elias was already moving toward the door. He stepped inside, and Myra's eyes went wide with fear. Get out, she whispered. Please, Elias, just go. Don't take her. Please don't take my daughter. The words stopped him cold. She thought he was here to steal Luna. Mira, I'm not. Your sister said you'd do this, Mira continued, tears streaming down her face. She said you'd take Luna the moment you found out. Said I'd never win custody against your money. Please, Elias, she's all I have. Elias felt something crack open in his chest. He moved slowly to her bedside and carefully took her hand. I'm not taking Luna anywhere, he said gently. I know what Isabella did. I know about the threats, the lies, all of it. I know you never took the money. I know you disappeared to protect me. Mira stared at him, searching his face for deception. How? I hired investigators. I pulled records. Your colleague Sarah told me everything she knew, and I pieced together the rest. Elias's voice cracked. Mira, I'm so sorry. I should have looked for you. I should have known you wouldn't just leave. You believed her, Mira whispered. You believed I'd take money and run. I was an idiot, Elias said. A proud, stupid idiot who let his sister manipulate him because believing her lies hurt less than thinking I'd failed you. A monitor beeped. The nurse adjusted something. Luna, Mira said urgently. Where is she? Is she safe? She's right outside with Dr. Ramon. She's been here every day, waiting for you to wake up. She's... Elias swallowed hard. She's incredible, Mira. Smart and brave and kind. You've raised an amazing daughter. Fresh tears spilled down Myra's cheeks. I did my best. It wasn't always enough. There were nights I couldn't pay the electric bill, times I fed her and went hungry myself. But I loved her. I love her so much. I know, Elias said. And she knows. She talks about you constantly. About your stargazing nights and chocolate chip pancakes and how you're the best mom in the universe, Mira laughed wetly. Can I see her? Please, Elias nodded and stepped out. Luna launched herself at him. Is mommy okay? Can I go in? She's waiting for you, Elias said. He carried Luna into the room and set her down gently beside the bed. Myra's face transformed, all fear replaced by pure love. Baby, she breathed, opening her arms. Luna climbed carefully onto the bed and buried herself in her mother's embrace. You came back, she sobbed. I knew you would, always, Mira whispered. I'll always come back to you. Elias watched them, these two people who were his whole world, and felt tears on his own face. Dr. Rahman touched his shoulder, gesturing toward the door. Give them a minute, the doctor said kindly. Outside, Elias leaned against the wall, overwhelmed. After a few minutes, Luna peeked out. Mommy wants to talk to you, she announced. Elias entered slowly. Mira was sitting up more now, one arm still around Luna. Luna told me you've been taking care of her, Mira said carefully. Thank you, she's my daughter too, Elias replied. Even though I didn't know it. Are you angry? Mira asked. That I didn't tell you? Angry at myself, Elias said. Angry at my sister. But never at you. You did what you thought you had to do to protect both of us. Luna looked between them. Are you two going to fight? No, sweetheart, Mira assured her. We're just talking. Good, Luna said firmly. Because I like having a daddy, and I don't want him to go away. Myra's eyes widened. You told her? She asked, Elias said. And I couldn't lie to her. I have his eyes, Mommy, Luna explained seriously. Everyone can see it. Mira laughed despite herself, then winced. Everything hurts. You were in a bad accident, Elias said. You've been in a coma for almost 2 weeks. The wedding cakes, Mira gasped. I had a delivery, handled, Elias said. I made sure the couple got their cakes. I've been keeping your observatory position secure. Everything's taken care of. Mira stared at him. Why would you do that? Because you needed help, Elias said simply. And because I should have been helping all along. Silence fell between them, heavy with 7 years of pain and misunderstanding. I don't know how to do this, Mira finally whispered. How to trust you again. How to let you into Luna's life, into my life, after everything, one day at a time, Elias suggested. No pressure, no demands. Just, let me be here. Let me be Luna's father. Let me prove I'm not the person who let you down 7 years ago. I'm scared, Mira admitted. So am I, Elias said. But maybe we can be scared together. Luna nestled between them. Mommy, can we keep him? Please. Despite everything, they both laughed. And in that moment, something fragile and precious began to take root, the possibility of becoming a family. 3 months later, autumn painted Seattle in shades of gold and crimson. Mira stood on the balcony of her new apartment, a bright, spacious place that didn't leak when it rained, watching Luna chase falling leaves in the courtyard below. Elias stood beside her, 2 coffee mugs in his hands. Pumpkin spice, he announced, handing her one. I remembered. You remembered from 7 years ago? Mira asked, surprised. I remembered everything, Elias said quietly. The recovery had been slow. Myra's broken ribs took weeks to heal, the headaches even longer. But Elias had been there for every physical therapy appointment, every follow-up scan, every frustrated tear when her body wouldn't cooperate. More than that, he'd been there for Luna. He picked her up from school, helped with homework, attended her first-grade astronomy club. He read bedtime stories and made terrible dinosaur impressions and learned to braid hair through trial and error. And slowly, carefully, he'd been there for Mira too. Earth to Mira, Elias said, waving a hand. You disappeared on me. Sorry, Mira smiled. Just thinking about how much has changed. Good changes, he asked. Mostly, she admitted. They'd been cautious with each other, rebuilding trust brick by brick. There were still hard conversations ahead about the past, about expectations, about whether what they'd had could be reclaimed or if they were building something entirely new. Elias had cut all ties with Isabella, buying her out of the company at significant cost. He'd restructured his entire life, fewer hours at the office, more time for what mattered. "Luna asked me something this morning," Elias said, setting down his mug. "What's that?" "She asked if I was going to marry you." Myra's heart skipped. "What did you tell her?" "That I wanted to," Elias said, turning to face her fully. "But that it's your choice." "It's always been your choice, Myra. I never asked the right way before." "Before?" Myra's voice was barely a whisper. Elias pulled a small box from his pocket. "Before I left for Geneva 7 years ago, I had this made. I was going to propose when I got back. But then you were gone, and I thought, well, it doesn't matter what I thought. I was wrong." He opened the box. Inside was a ring, a simple band set with a star sapphire that glowed purple-blue in the afternoon light. "Luna helped me design it," Elias continued. "She said you'd want stars." "She was right, wasn't she?" Myra's eyes filled with tears. "Elias. I'm not asking you to marry me today," he interrupted gently. "I'm asking if someday, when you're ready, when we've rebuilt what we lost, you'll let me spend the rest of my life proving I'll never let you down again. I'm asking if you'll let me be Luna's father. If you'll let me be your partner in every way that matters." Below, Luna looked up and waved enthusiastically. Myra waved back, her hand trembling. "I'm terrified," she admitted. "Of trusting this. Of believing it's real." "I know," Elias said. "But I'm patient. I can wait. I'll wait as long as you need." Myra looked at the ring, at this man who'd flown halfway across the country because she was hurt, who'd stepped into fatherhood without hesitation, who'd dismantled his relationship with his sister to protect them. "What if we take it slow?" she suggested. "What if I wear this ring as a promise that someday, when I'm ready, the answer will be yes?" Elias's face transformed with hope. "Someday works for me." He slipped the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly. Then, slowly, giving her every chance to pull away, he leaned in and kissed her. It was different from their kisses 7 years ago, less desperate, more certain. It tasted like coffee and autumn air and second chances. When they broke apart, Luna was standing in the doorway, grinning. "Finally. I thought I'd have to lock you two in a closet." They laughed, and Elias scooped Luna up, settling her on his hip. "What do you say we go to the observatory tonight? All 3 of us?" "Yes," Luna cheered. "Can we see Saturn?" "Saturn's perfect right now," Myra confirmed. That evening, they drove to Mountain View Observatory. Dr. Sarah had given them special access to the main telescope. Luna pressed her eye to the viewfinder, gasping at the sight of Saturn's rings. "It's so beautiful," she breathed. Elias stood behind Myra, his arms wrapped around her waist, his chin resting on her shoulder. They watched their daughter explore the cosmos, this child they'd created together. "Thank you," Elias whispered. "For what?" "For surviving. For raising her alone when I should have been there. For giving me a second chance I didn't deserve." Myra turned in his arms, looking up at him. "We both made mistakes. Your sister manipulated us when we were too young to see it clearly. But we have now. We have Luna. We have each other." "I love you," Elias said. "I never stopped." "I love you too," Myra replied. "I tried to stop, but I couldn't." Luna called them over to see a nebula. They spent the next 2 hours stargazing, the 3 of them together. When Luna fell asleep on the observatory couch, Elias carried her to the car while Myra gathered their things. The drive home was quiet, Luna snoring softly in the back seat. Elias reached over and took Myra's hand. She laced their fingers together, the star sapphire catching the streetlight. Someday, she said softly. Someday, Elias agreed. And that's enough. 6 months later, in a ceremony under the stars with Luna as their flower girl, someday became today. And as Mira Chen became Mira Vance, she looked at her husband and daughter and felt something she'd been missing for 7 years finally click into place. She was home. They all were. The end Claude is AI and can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.